Well, the president's also talking tough about those involved in corruption and state capture. He says these injustices have a devastating effect on the economy and trust in public institutions has to be restored.
We are working together to revitalize our economy and end the inequality and injustice that impedes our progress as a nation. We are standing together against corruption and to ensure that those who are responsible for state capture will be punished for their crimes. We are rebuilding the state and restoring trust and pride in our public institutions. If there is one thing we all agree on, it is that the present situation that we are in now, of deep poverty, unemployment and inequality, is unacceptable and unsustainable. There is agreement amongst a broad and diverse range of South Africans that fundamental change and fundamental reforms are needed to revive economic growth in our country. There is a need both to address the immediate crisis and to create conditions for long-lasting stability and development.
Whistleblowers also making it into the SONA speech. Government will tighten laws and policies to protect whistleblowers, who Ramaphosa says are vital in the fight against corruption.
We will, as the Commission's first report recommends, strengthen the system to protect whistleblowers who are a vital safeguard in the fight against corruption and who take huge personal risk in reporting wrongdoing. We are doing a detailed review of all applicable legislation and a comparative study of other jurisdictions to strengthen whistleblower protection. The relevant law enforcement agencies are taking the necessary steps to address the immediate concern about the safety of whistleblowers. Now, many individuals and companies that the Commission has found were responsible for state capture must now be held accountable. I have every confidence that the National Prosecuting Authority will carry out the further investigations that the Commission has recommended, and that it will bring the members of the criminal network that infiltrated government and captured the state swiftly to justice.
And let's talk about the electricity. The president says the country's power crisis has to be solved in order to grow the economy. He also says the unemployment crisis is being caused by low growth and a decline in investment.
In the last year, we have benefited from a clear and stable macroeconomic framework, from strong commodity prices, from mining, and a better-than-expected recovery. However, we've been held back by an unreliable electricity supply, the inefficient network industry, and the high cost of doing business in our country. We have been taking extraordinary measures to enable businesses to grow and create jobs alongside expanded public employment and social protection which we have put in place. We all know that government does not create jobs. Businesses create jobs.
And this was certainly one of the biggest questions by critics going into SONA. President Cyril Ramaphosa has extended the 350 Rand social relief of distress grants until March of next year. But here's the question that everyone's asking. Can the government afford it? Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana wouldn't be drawn on whether the money is actually there.
I would imagine the head of state would not have made the announcement if he has not interacted with his Minister of Finance. So I don't want to say whether the money is there, but there has been a consultation before such an announcement.
Well, the Democratic Alliance, as we get reaction, claims that government's economic policies come straight out of the DA's handbook. Party leader John Steenhuisen also says Ramaphosa's decision not to involve his cabinet ministers in his plans is very alarming. Steenhuisen joined us and was commenting on the president's State of the Nation address.
Finally, you got ahead of the ANC and the president of the country agreeing that the statist approach doesn't create jobs or grow the economy, that you need to create the environment for the private sector. That's what we've been saying for years. Going out the DA playbook, cutting red tape, creating opportunities for investment. The big thing to now take away, the president putting individuals from outside of his party into his office to do the things that his ministers should be doing. It should be the Minister of Small Business cutting red tape. He's brought somebody else in. It should be somebody else, Minister of Finance and others raising the funds, brought somebody else in. The president obviously clearly doesn't trust members in his own cabinet to implement his plans that he has for the year ahead. And I think that should worry you. The big omission tonight for me, education. How do we catch up the 50% of schooling that's been lost over the last 2 years, so that we can ensure we don't have another lost generation of South Africans who don't have the skills to be able to get into the programs that the president's talking about by finishing their schooling.